Hello, 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 and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to a live Manchester United news, transfer news, and update show. Today's show, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Fulham game. Very disappointing to go out the FA Cup yesterday. We will talk about that. I will get into your chats and opinions on the game. We're going to talk about Chido and Heaven, the displays from them. I think positives from that game to take out a bit what Arsenal fans have been saying about Chido and Heaven, which honestly I can't believe Arsenal fans are saying this rubbish about Chido and Heaven, and they're basically embarrassing Arsenal fans because imagine being so insecure that you're about some kids leaving your academy for Man United that you're literally hating on them. Imagine being a fully grown man hating on 17-year-olds. And I said this now, had a Manchester City player left the academy for Man United, I don't think Man City fans would care that much. When Cole Palmer left for Chelsea, Man City fans didn't care that much because Man City had won the Champions League, they won the Premier League, their fan base is secure. Arsenal fan base, I said it's the most insecure fan base online, which is why they annoy everybody. Because if they'd won Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues, they wouldn't be that bothered that Chido gone to United, but they're insecure, so they're hating on him, as I said. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about sort of that whole situation, how silly it is. We're going to talk about Højlund, because Chido created 3 big chances for himself out of nothing while Højlund's been waiting for chances. It's getting hard to defend Højlund, and Ruben Amorim's made it clear to players where they stand. We spoke a little bit about this yesterday and telling players, if he does want them or not, if he doesn't want them or not, or where they stand. And Højlund's one that Man United are looking potentially to offload, according to reports. There is some interest there, and it could be the end of the road for Rasmus Hojlund, especially now with Chido, coming off the bench and creating 3 chances for himself. Xerxes, who's not even number 9, doing more in that role. We're going to talk about Højlund. Man United are looking at a new goalkeeper, but Onana wants to stay. We're going to talk about Victor Osimhen. We're going to talk about Bruno Fernandes. We're going to talk about a multitude of things. So, big up, people. Welcome to the live show. Let me know you're... I got a cold, sorry. So, I do apologise that my voice is going to be weird. I got a cold, but... Big up, everybody. Welcome to the live show. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the match and all the news down below, as I will be diving into the live show as well. But we are going to talk about Højlund later on, because I don't think Højlund is the biggest problem. I think that he's not getting much service, and no matter who plays striker, it's going to be difficult. But we do have to talk about the lack of progress and, Chido and Xerxes finding themselves more chances. Fulham penalties was good, Man United apart from 2. Yeah, I mean, the going out on penalties was horrible. The way we went out, particularly on penalties, is honestly one of the worst ways to go out. But let's dive into this. So, Chido had 3 big chances, and then you've got big journalists for Chelsea, putting his sofa score rating in the reply saying he missed 3 big chances. And it's like, it's more the fact that Man United haven't created 3 big chances of Højlund all season, that the fact that we managed to find 3 big chances for Obi, which was all because of Obi's movements and running and him creating them for himself. That's what we're talking about. People say, well, he missed 3 big chances, posting a sofa score rating, trying to make out that Chido had a bad game because he missed 3 chances, but they weren't Darwin Núñez chances where it was a tap-in. These were chances that he made for himself out of nothing. Wrestling his man, he could have gone down and maybe won a penalty. Right at the end, the angle was almost impossible. I don't think you can call that a big chance. I don't think any of his chances were big chances, but he made them bigger chances because of his movement. And I don't think any of those positions you'd expect him to score from. But yeah, maybe one of them you'd expect him to hit the target. But yeah, I thought he did really well, Chido. People are hating on him, posting his sofa score rating in and this and that. And Arsenal fans are trying to make out he's bad because they didn't watch the game. They just saw his sofa score rating. But he was good. He was good. And the reason he was good is because Højlund has been waiting for chances to come to him and doing nothing. Obi, when he had the ball, his touch was good. He held up the ball well. He passed the ball well, but he got into dangerous positions. And it felt like with Chido, the goals will come. Now, I like Rasmus Hojlund. I really want Rasmus Hojlund to succeed. But it feels like with Rasmus Hojlund, the goals aren't going to come. He's not even getting in areas where he's having shots. It's like, when are the goals going to come? Whereas Chido got in areas that were dangerous, you feel like the goals will come. Now, with Højlund, he's a confidence player. And I feel like once he gets 1 goal, he could go on a scoring streak. That's the thing about Højlund. But I thought that Chido did really well for himself. But there are people trying to make out that he was bad and stuff like that. Chido only get better with more minutes. They should put him in a strong starting 11. I agree. I also think with Chido, he didn't touch the ball for the first 10 minutes, which shows you can't really be doing 10-minute cameos. It shows you can't really be doing 10-minute cameos here and there because he's not going to have enough time to get the ball, have a feel of the ball. But after about 15, 20 minutes, that's when Chido grew into the game. That's when he really grew into the game. And I think, it shows that Amorim's got to give him half an hour. 10 minutes isn't enough. You've got to give him half an hour, this and that as well. Chido can't be ignored, even if he may not be entirely ready. What he has done should allow him a chance to start. He's already done more than Højlund in such a short amount of time. I think Chido's done enough to say, you know what, you could start me in that Sociedad game, or you could. Do you know what would be even better? A Chido winner versus Arsenal. A Chido winner versus Arsenal next Sunday. Come on, guys, that would be the best. That would be the best. Oh, please, Man United experience the same problem with every striker. They ruin their confidence. I agree to an extent. I don't think... by the way, I don't think Chido's ready. I think he's raw. He's not fully ready. But I think Chido has shown that he could offer more than Højlund in certain games. And this is what I said on Chido. Chido has really grown into this game and been impressive. His movement showed Højlund up, actively trying to get involved and create chances rather than waiting. He's still raw, but the goals will come. It just highlights why Amorim should give more minutes to youth. Even if they're inexperienced, they can offer more than some first-team players. Obi also looked better than Højlund and his draws and with his touches. Bear in mind, I do think Rasmus Hojlund could be a top player in future. I'm not writing off Rasmus Hojlund as a player. But I'm just saying right now he's not giving enough for Manchester United. I still believe, and I will talk about that later, that Højlund can become a good striker. But right now he's not doing anything for us. And you look at Chido. Chido is raw. Chido's not the finished article. Chido isn't 100% ready, but he's still showing a bit more danger than Højlund. He still caused the Fulham centre-backs more problems than Højlund. So for me, that says, we can give him more minutes. He's 17 years of age. When he's 22, 23, that's when you maybe expect more from him. But he's 17. He won't even be in his prime for 10 years, Chido. So he's got 10 years to improve. But he's showing that he was causing the centre-backs more issues than Højlund. Even if he's not ready, even if he's a bit rusty in areas. And that's enough for Amorim to look at that and say, you know what, I could start. I could give you more minutes as well. Chido doing decent. The only thing he lacks is he's too afraid. He gets into a good position but needs more pace into position. Yeah, I do think he lacked a little bit of pace, actually. I do agree with that as well. I do agree. I thought the one thing I thought with Chido is he lacked that bit of pace. He wasn't as electric as Garnacho as well. One thing that has bugged me for years with United is how no one wants to work and get the ball off our throw-ins. No other team has much difficulty. I've not noticed that, but I'm going to keep an eye on that. I know we're not very good at winning the second balls or keeping the ball well from throw-ons and goal kicks, and that's frustrating. Bruno was actually shouting at the centre-backs to pass the ball better because we weren't passing out very well at times as well. Our fans are blind and will blame the striker. They do this every season and they never learn. I somewhat agree with you. To the extent that Højlund isn't the problem. No matter who the striker is, if we don't change other players, they're going to have the same problem. There's going to be the same problem at United. If we just brought Victor Gyökeres in and nobody else in the summer, we're going to have similar problems. He's not going to get much service. He's not going to get the goal numbers he got Sporting. But I do think he would be more dangerous than Højlund in terms of getting into better areas, not wrestling, the first touch. I think Højlund needs to improve, and I think confidence is a massive thing. And I don't think Højlund is the big problem. I think we just need to get a left 10. We need to get midfielders that are good at progressively passing the ball. We need to get wing-backs that create and put crosses in, and we will see. Do you think he'll get faster as he gets older? Yeah, I mean, you don't peak at pace until 24, 25, do you? We're going to talk about Ayden Heaven. I think he had a really good cameo as well. Højlund is a shadow of what he was at Atalanta. United's toxicity rubbed off on him. I think a lot of it's confidence. I feel for Højlund because I think he's been torn down by everything. Because when you're signed for 72 million to be the leading striker for Man United, people are going to expect you to be ready. People are going to forget the context that he's a £40 million player signed for 72 million because the people at the top of the club are idiots. People forget he was a 20-year-old kid that had his first ever season in a top flight league and was third choice striker for Atalanta. If you're 20 years of age and third choice striker for Atalanta, you're not ready to lead the line for United. Everybody knows that. United paid 72 million for him at a third choice striker at Atalanta who was not ready to lead the line, and because they couldn't get anyone else in, because they overspent money on Mount, they overspent money on Højlund, we were left in this position where we'd overspent money on so many players that we couldn't bring anyone else in, so we had to expect Højlund to do it himself. Now, Højlund came into a very poor Man United side under Erik ten Hag. We weren't creating chances. He had 10 times more pressure on him because he was now the man that was going to lead the line and because of the price tag. When everyone knew he wasn't ready and because he didn't hit the ground running, there was a bit of pressure on him, but he showed glimpses in the Champions League to keep fans on side, keep him going. And 16 goals last season, I think that was enough to keep a lot of fans on Højlund's side and say, look, there's something, no service, 16 goals last season, 21-year-old kid, there's something in here. This season, the goals aren't there, but the touch isn't good, the pass isn't good, the link-up isn't good. He's completely regressed, massively due to probably confidence because the media pressure of the world is on him. He's getting a lot of toxic hate. But he's not doing enough. And now you're seeing Chido come on and create chances for himself. And Xerxes, when he plays in the striker role, he may not score, but he offers more on the ball. And that's where I think people are getting frustrated with Højlund. And we're going to talk about that in more detail in a second. But I do want to talk about Ayden Heaven. Chido looks more like an Isak type player, needs more growth, but he'll go far. I don't know. I feel like he'd be more of a Haaland than an Isak, to be honest. But we'll have to wait and see as well. I did think Xerxes and Chido had good chemistry. You could see there was a little connection between Xerxes and Chido. They got on well. There was definitely some good chemistry there as well. Like you said, Chido is raw, but I also feel like once nerves left him after more minutes, he had passes and you could see he was looking more comfortable and had some good play with Xerxes at times. I agree. I think he was nervy, but I think more as he grew into the game, he got so much better, didn't he, as well? We're going to talk about Ayden Heaven, actually, because I think he had a good cameo, to be honest, as well. Rasmus Hojlund is a good player. He is just a young player and was third choice striker at Atalanta, exactly. I'm honest with Højlund. I like Højlund. I want Højlund to succeed, and I think there's a good player in Højlund. But I do look at it and I think, does he need a year away from United on loan to get his confidence up to be in a new environment? Matthew says YouTube channels like yours aren't helping. Well, you don't watch my videos, Matthew, because I think I've stuck up for Højlund a lot. I'm just being honest and saying Chido's offered more than Højlund in his cameo, and Xerxes offered more than Højlund when he had a cameo striker. You know, that doesn't mean I don't like Rasmus Hojlund. I think I'm probably one of the most defensive fans online when it comes to Rasmus Hojlund, saying, look, I feel sorry for him. But I'm also saying, I think he needs a loan away from United. I think he needs a new environment. He's not ready to lead the line, and that's not his fault. That was the people above Højlund's fault for spending 72 million on someone that was third choice Atalanta with 9 goals. You know, I've seen enough from Højlund's first season to back him and support him and believe there's a good player there, but I also know he's not ready. You know, so I don't know how I'm not helping when I've been very defensive of Højlund, but I'm just saying he's not offering enough because I'm watching football with my eyes and he's not offering enough at striker. And I hope he can, and I still believe he can be a good player, but right now he's not offering enough. That's the fact of Højlund. I think Højlund can be a good player. I saw enough of Højlund in his first season to think there's a good player there, but he's not offering enough. He's waiting for chances to come to him and he's regressed. And a lot of it is confidence. And I think there can be a good player there and I wouldn't write him off. But I think he needs time away from United. I do. Have you seen links to Subamende this morning? Another loss, another spin. Yeah, Subamende links, I think, a spin. I will talk about the Subamende links, but again, I've not really included it in the video because I don't believe it. If I was going to be honest. But let's talk about Ayden Heaven. So I was really impressed with what I saw from Ayden Heaven. Let me know your thoughts down below. But I thought it was a very comfortable debut from Ayden Heaven. I don't think he was tested much, but he looked solid. And I think Amorim will see that and say, you know what, in those 30 minutes, he looked solid. I could maybe play him more because I'll be honest with you, and maybe this is reactionary, and maybe he isn't ready and we'll see further down the line, but I would rather Ayden Heaven be on the pitch than Victor Lindelof. Right now, if Harry Maguire's injured, I would rather see Ayden Heaven than Victor Lindelof in that Man United back three. Dilic central centre-back, Euro right centre-back, Ayden Heaven left centre-back. That's what I want to see. That I don't want to see Lindelof, I'll be honest. 30 minutes from Ayden Heaven and he didn't look out of place. He looked very assured, very confident. It looked good in the air, comfortable on the ball. When he had the ball, driving forward with it, comfortable, and confident with the ball at his feet in general. And I thought he handled the intensity of the game quite well. He adapted. He came on, and you wouldn't think that was a 18-year-old kid thrown into his debut. You know, it wasn't like a, oh my God, what an outrageous cameo, this tackle, that tackle. He wasn't tested a lot. I'll say that. But what I liked about Ayden Heaven's cameo was he positioned himself well. He showed awareness. He showed actually he could do that wide centre-back role, which I think a lot of our other players are struggling to adjust to being a wide centre-back. I thought that Ayden Heaven looked most natural in that in terms of positional awareness and where to be. And also when he got the ball, I think he liked to drive with that space. And I think he's played left-back in DM at Academy, but I felt that Heaven felt competent. Yeah. I didn't look at Heaven and think that's a weak point. Lindelof was worrying me more than Heaven. Yeah, Alice, you're certainly defensive of Højlund as much as anyone reasonably can. But yeah, I try and stick up for Højlund, but I also have to just be honest and say he's not good enough. It's not just confidence, lacks the basics. I wouldn't say poor attitude. I just think his like touch and passing has been poor lately. I think he's got a good attitude. I think he's low on confidence. I think he's a young player that's gone in with Højlund, a young player that's gone into a dressing room, and all of a sudden he's got to act like one of the more experienced players, and he's not ready for that yet. That's what it is with Højlund. Do you think we can get Victor Osimhen in the summer? It depends on the wages he's demanding and if Napoli lower the release clause. I do think when Napoli interested in Højlund and Garnacho, there's definitely possibilities there for Victor Osimhen. There's definitely possibilities there. Someone said cash in on Fernandes and buy Tyler Dibbling or Joe Bellingham. Replacing Bruno Fernandes with Dibbling or Joe Bellingham, I get what you mean for the future. But could Joe Bellingham or Tyler Dibbling at, 19 years of age fill Bruno Fernandes' shoes if he left this summer? Absolutely not. You can't expect a teenager to come and, if we play crap, win us a game. To replace Bruno Fernandes, you've got to bring in someone that's like 25. When I think of replacing Bruno Fernandes, you need that moments player. You need that Musiala. You need that Cole. I know he's at form, but Cole Palmer. Replacing Bruno Fernandes is a Cole Palmer. It's the Musiala type player. Bruno Fernandes is one of a kind player. He's contributed to our last 7 goals out of nowhere. The goal he scored was fantastic. I like Tyler Dibbling. I like Joe Bellingham. But if you sold Bruno and you just brought in Joe Bellingham, that'd be really scary. Jude Bellingham, different situation. Jude Bellingham's a game winner, but Joe Bellingham, that'd be scary. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, to replace Bruno Fernandes, you're going to need someone experienced. Like Dibbling and Joe, you can't replace Bruno with someone with that little experience. Even replacing Garnacho with Dibbling, I don't like the idea of. I want someone. We need ready. Maybe we've got so many young kids. We've got Leon, we've got Dorgu, we've got Heaven, we've got Yoro. Hender's set to come in the defence. Maino's young as well. Højlund's young, Xerxes young, Garnacho's young. We've got so many young kids that when I look at Manchester United, I'm looking at players that are sort of in their prime. I'm looking at someone like Schlotterbeck to be the centre-back that's 25 years of age. I'm looking at someone like Cunha that I think is 25 years of age as well to be that left 10. I'm looking at someone like Victor Gyökeres to be that striker. And I believe he's 26 or 27. He's 26 years of age. Victor Gyökeres. So we're looking at I'm looking at experience. I don't mind Akenda coming in, but then I'm also looking at, do we go with someone that's got a lot of potential? Do we go with like an Angelo Stiller in midfield, 23? Do we go with an Adam Wharton, who's again very young, very unexperienced? But I look at Adam Wharton, I look at Stiller, and I'm like, that's cool. I look at Kenda, that's cool. But then as long as you get like the Cunhas and the Schlotterbecks and the Gyökeres to give that experience, I don't want to be bringing in more teenagers when I think we've got a lot of teenagers. I think we need to bring in more experienced players. Seeking players will do what exactly? Whatever you're selling any United player for won't give you enough to improve on the player you sold. Fans need to wake up. We need to get this ownership out. What do you mean? United player for won't give you enough to improve the player. So, you're saying, because we sell players so badly that if we sold Bruno, we'd get peanuts for him and we'd have to pay 5 times more than what we sold Bruno for to actually find a player to replace him with. I get what you mean. Cunha's great, but when Cunha gets those silly red cards, which I think Bournemouth made the most out of it, I actually don't think there was that much contact. That does frustrate me with Cunha, the way he was lashing out. It's like, that would annoy me. I tell you what would really annoy me if I was a Newcastle fan with Gordon. Again, that was so preventable from Anthony Gordon. Heaven could be a key part of Man United's defence if he can grow and stay injury-free. I agree. Again, too early to make the call, but you can only judge what you see. And from Ayden Heaven's 30-minute cameo, assured. Good. So let's talk about Arsenal fans. Let's talk, because I can't believe Arsenal fans are saying this. Okay, these are grown men. These are grown men. These are people that are older than Chido. These are people that left school before Chido was even in year 7, okay? Chido was 16 when he left Arsenal. 16 is GCSEs, okay? When you do your GCSEs in England, you are very young. And and imagine a 16-year-old kid doing the GCSEs with grown men hating on them because they're insecure. Man City don't hate on their academy players when they leave them. Cole Palmer left for Chelsea. Man City don't hate on Cole Palmer because Man City are secure. I say this. Arsenal fans are insecure. If Arsenal fans had won Premier League titles and Champions League titles in the last few years, they wouldn't care about Chido. But because they haven't won anything, they're so insecure that Chido's left Arsenal for Man United. That's what it is. City fans are secure. That's why they didn't complain. Because they're like, why would he leave? Why would he leave? But Chido felt that was a better pathway to first team at United. Now, you can say Lewis Skelly and Wanyeri had done excellent in the season, but back in the summer, Arteta had not brought one academy player through, or we'd brought multiple. That was the truth of it. It wasn't about money. And you have these grown men saying this. Chido is a bum, talks like Ronaldo, plays like Ashley Barnes, back to under 18s you go. Like, imagine being a grown man saying that about a kid that is school age. And also, he's 17. Imagine watching 30 minutes of a 17-year-old play football and decide he's not good enough, even though he's broke records for his age range. Imagine being, I've watched 30 minutes of this guy play first-team football, even though he's 17 years of age, he's not ready. Chido is better than most footballers are. Chido's better than the majority of footballers are at 17. That like he is. That's fact. You then get Arsenal fans saying Chido clearly isn't ready. I don't think he'll ever be good enough. Needs about 2 loans minimum to prove he's any good. Technically, he's just not great. So you've watched 30 minutes of a striker that had a good cameo, that's 17 years of age, in a very poor United side. And even though he broke records at youth level, you've decided he's not good enough at 17. Chido was rubbish. Me liking every Chido and Heaven hate tweet. You're just proving Heaven and Chido right for leaving Arsenal. I can't believe that. Too many trolls with not much knowledge. And Arsenal fans go, why are we the most disliked? Why are we the most hated? Because Arsenal fans have pissed off every fan base. They pissed off Newcastle because they believe that Isak's going to just walk out of Newcastle for Arsenal and, he's going to Arsenal. They've peed off Liverpool because they're calling Liverpool lucky for winning the league. Okay, Liverpool have had more luck with injuries, but Liverpool have played very good. Salah's about to put a world record breaking numbers up. That's not luck. Liverpool are on track for 92 points. Arsenal's best ever Premier League season, they got 90 points, and that was the Invincibles. Arsenal last season got 89 points. Liverpool on track for 92 points. Yes, they might have had more luck with injuries and that bit of luck, but for Arsenal to win the league, they would need to get 93 points, which they've never achieved. But they call Liverpool lucky. They assume they're going to get Isak. So they've annoyed those two fan bases. They're abusing 17-year-olds because he left Arsenal for Man United because he thought there was a better path to the first team. Their VAR is against them. It's so corrupt. And look, Arsenal have been on the end of a few bad decisions. I will give them that. But so have Man United, so have Liverpool. But VAR's only against Arsenal. It's corrupt. Do you know what I mean? Like the Lewis Skelly red card, absolute joke. The Declan Rice kicking the ball away, second yellow, absolute joke. But let's be honest, like they've managed to annoy it. Obviously, Tottenham fans don't like them, Chelsea fans don't like them, but they've managed to upset every fan base. And then they go, why are we the most disliked fan base online? Everyone's jealous of us. Everyone's rattled with us. It's like, you've come second, you've not won anything. When we came second under Ollie, they said their season where they came 8th and won the FA Cup was us better than us coming second under Ollie. But now they're coming second and not winning anything. It's better than winning the FA Cup and coming 8th under Ten Hag. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And it's not all Arsenal fans. I know a lot of Arsenal fans that talk sense, but they definitely have a few loud ones online. Like that hating on a 17-year-old is crazy. Someone mentioned something to me, actually. Now, this hasn't been reported, and I wonder if it will be reported, but someone said to me, I was having a conversation with someone, can't name who, but Arda Güler to Man United could be one to watch in the summer. Real Madrid don't have really room for him, and he's not been super impressive at Real Madrid, but there's definitely a player there, and Man United always had an interest in Arda Güler. He's obviously a young player. Now, Real Madrid would be quite open to maybe sort of like letting Arda Güler go this summer. So this could be one to watch as well. Man United could see him as a potential right 10 in Amorim's system. So that will be interesting to see with Güler. He's only got 1 goal this season and he's not really getting off the bench. So that could be one to watch. But I'll talk about that maybe in my live show tonight. Newcastle aren't selling their best players and it's comical to listen to people talk like it's a done deal. Toon's problem is sponsor, that's revenue, not money, 100%. But Arsenal fans talk as if like Isak to Arsenal's a done deal. Did Muppeteers say this at the weekend as well? Yeah, I'd heard this, so that's interesting. That's interesting that Muppeteers have said it as well. They must have a similar source to me. Anyway, This is what else I said on Chido. Arsenal fans sending abuse to Chido and tweeting to make it seem like he had an awful game when he actually played well. It's exactly why people say they have the most unbearable fan base online. Not sure why a lot of this fan base is so insecure. He is 17. He's a 17-year-old that chose United as he believed it was a better path to first team football. Now with Havertz and Jesus and Arsenal's injury record, yeah, maybe at Arsenal right now he would be playing first team football. He would be their leading striker with the injury record. But how was Chido meant to know in the summer that Arsenal are going to lose their 4 best attackers to injury, and that Arteta, after 5 seasons of not giving any academy players a chance, was actually going to start playing Wanyeri and Lewis Skelly? How did Chido know that at the time? He didn't. At the time he left Arsenal for Man United, Manchester United was seen as a better path to first team football than Arsenal because Arteta hadn't brought anybody through. And that's why he left Arsenal. We did not triple the wages. We matched the wages that Arsenal offered him. And he went to United because he thought it was a better path to first team football. And Arsenal fans are sending abuse to a 17-year-old. It's crazy. What did Ruben Amorim say on Chido and Heaven's performance? So Ruben Amorim said this. He said, they are talented players, and with the injuries they have to be ready. It's our tradition to play players. Chido did very well today. Of course, he was a bit naive at times, but you can feel that inside the box he wants the ball, and that's something that Højlund has lacked. He said, Ayden was very relaxed during the game, so I'm happy for them, but it's difficult first home game for them. Both of them looked good. Ayden didn't look out of place. Chido showed that sort of threat in the box that I feel we've been lacking. They're raw. They're not the finished article. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to take time to grow in the game, but they showed decent stuff in that cameo. They really, really did. So that's what Ruben Amorim said on them. Now, I want to talk about transfer news, and I want to talk about Højlund now. And then I will get into more stories, because I'm 26 minutes into the live show. So I do need to get on with the live show, because I don't want it to be too long. Yo, Alice Late to rewind, keep it up, go. We're just talking about Chido and Heaven and the performance yesterday and why Arsenal fans are hating on them. I probably could have said that in 15 minutes, but it's taken me 26 minutes. And a little bit about Højlund as well. I am ill as well, so I apologise. So there is interest in Victor Osimhen, but United still don't know how much they can spend this summer. Was said by Fabrizio Romano. The player will not reduce his wages, was also said by Romano. That might be an issue. Wages might be an issue, but United do like him. They're looking at him, they're looking at Delap, and they're looking at Gyökeres. I know that. It was also said that Napoli are considering Rasmus Hojlund as part of a deal that would see Victor Osimhen join Manchester United as well. We know that Napoli do have interest in Højlund. There's a lot of Italian clubs that are interested in Højlund, believe there's a player there. I mean, look, Antony leaves United, does well. Rashford leaves United, does well. You know, Højlund leaving United and going back to Italy and doing well. A lot of Italian clubs will be in for United attackers, you know, because they'll do well. So yeah, Alice, we're not buying players this summer. What don't you understand? Well, we will buy players after the 30th of June. The reason Rashford and Antony's out on loan is so we can get like 40 million for Rashford, 25 million for Antony, so we have money to spend. Like, we will sign players, but how much we spend will depend on sales. How much we spend will depend on sales. I don't think you guys realise how different it is starting as a striker in the first half to coming on second half when we're chasing the game. True point, of course. And the intensity is going to be up. It makes a difference. You know, Garnacho always comes, when he comes on, always looks better because we start games slow, 100%. Very good point. But let's talk about Højlund. So this is what I said about Højlund. 0 goals in 18 games makes it hard to defend Højlund. I said, because I still believe there's a good player in Højlund, but I can't defend him like I did last season. Last season, I really defended Højlund because he got 16 goals with no service in a shite United side, and I really defended Højlund last season. Whereas when you've not scored a goal in 18 games, even if you're not getting service, even if you're not the biggest problem, you can't defend that because this is Manchester United. We've got to have standards. I said I really wanted to work for him because he showed such promising signs in his first season. 16 goals with limited service at just 20, 21 years of age. It wasn't just about goals. He was running at defenders. His touch was better. His passing was sharper. Everything looked promising. He was dangerous running down the channels. However, this season, he's completely regressed. Confidence clearly a huge factor. Even when he receives the ball now, his touch often lets him down and it feels like nothing is working for him. It feels like when the ball comes to him, nothing is working. Meanwhile, players like Chido and Xerxes are offering more when playing at striker in just small cameos, which of course is coming off the bench. It's a bit different. That said, I've seen enough promising performances from Højlund in the past to believe he can be a good player. He's a strong finisher, a lethal runner in the channels in the UCL games, which he showed last year. He has raw attributes. He has the raw attributes to be a good striker. We saw the signs last season, running down the channels to 16 goals. We saw enough from Højlund last season to get behind him and say, we need an experienced striker to help him out, but he has the attributes. The issue with this season is he's not shown any signs of progress. He looks out of his depth, and at Man United, we need someone that's ready now. Højlund isn't ready to lead the line now. He's out of his depth. Maybe he needs a loan or a change of environment to rebuild his confidence. I do feel like he can have a good career, but he needs to get away from United next season to build up confidence. I think a loan, I still think Højlund could become a good player, but I do think a loan could do Højlund the world of good. He's just not ready. He's not ready to lead the line for United. As someone that saw so much in his first season, so much promise, he's not ready. Obi isn't ready either. Chido's not going to be ready for 4 or 5 years, realistically, but he's shown enough in his cameos to get excited about it. Chido's very unlikely to be ready for a few years. Xerxes is probably not a number 9. Højlund could become a top player. There's raw fundamentals there. But United need a number 9 to come in the summer that is going to be ready to lead the line. That's what we need. A number 9 is going to come in the summer that's ready to lead the line. Yeah. Someone said, don't overly praise Obi for things you would slate Højlund for doing exactly the same thing. I wouldn't slate Højlund for doing the same thing. I just said that Obi done well because he created chances for himself, which Højlund doesn't do. Garnacho ain't scored since Dex. Xerxes not scored for a while. Why is only Rasmus? Because Rasmus is the one playing striker and he's scored 18 goals without a game. Garnacho's had Garnacho needs to step up, but he's had a few cameos off the bench where he's been really exciting. Xerxes isn't scoring, but the difference between Xerxes and Højlund is Xerxes having good games without scoring because his touch is there, he's influencing players, link up was good. Xerxes had a really good game yesterday despite missing penalty and not scoring because he was holding up the ball where he was playing good passes, intelligent passes, he was creating. He's offering a bit more. It's not just Højlund, we're not scoring in general, and that is an issue. And once we have a better team and we start creating more chances and start scoring more goals, the goals should come for Højlund. It's not an issue of replace Højlund with a top striker and we're back to the top. It's replace 4 or 5 players so we can start creating more chances and probably bring in a more ready-made striker for Højlund to learn from. But you are right. But the expectations on Højlund being the striker will be higher, and I think Xerxes is offering more as well. Other clubs go out and find gems and pay less money for them. Why can't United do that? People know they can take advantage of us in the transfer window because we're desperate. Yeah, that's the problem. Anyway, let's continue on. Could it be the end of Rasmus Hojlund? Because this is actually sort of the talking point of today's video, and I realised that I hadn't actually gotten into it yet when I probably should have. Could this be the end of the line for Hojlund? And why could it be the end? So Amorim has made it clear to the board that he needs a striker. It is known that the coaches do not fully rate Rasmus Hojlund, but they're committed to helping him. It was said the coaches at Man United, according to reports, don't fully rate Hojlund, but they're committed to helping him, and they want him to improve. He works hard. It's been said that Højlund does work hard, and there's a belief that he can become good and he fits the profile of what they want in a future striker, but they haven't been impressed with what they've seen. He's not scored in 18 games. You can't blame them for not being impressed. Many within Man United feel sorry for Højlund and believe he's at his depth. We spoke about that story a couple of days ago, didn't we? And some sources claim that Manchester United would be open to letting Højlund leave, either on a permanent transfer or loan move. I think United could be open to loan or keeping him around, but with an experienced striker coming in to take the load of Højlund. Because he's not on high wages, so I don't think they're desperate to get rid of him, but I think they would look at it. Now, it has been said that Rasmus Hojlund will be effectively on trial between now and the end of the season. Ruben Amorim is not convinced by the player. And, there is sort of talk that, he will be allowed to leave. Ruben Amorim has told players, sort of where they stand as well. I think the whole forward line, Alex, because no one is scoring. We need at least 2 attackers coming in. We need Cunha and we need a striker coming in bare minimum. Arguably, you could say 3 attackers. I think we need at least 2, arguably you could say 3 attackers as well coming in. Because the forward line is bad. We need a 10 and we need a striker and we need a wing back. Now, I think bringing in a right wing back, a 10 and a striker should improve the forward line. Why isn't on penalties just to get confidence up? Because we're not really in a position to give him penalties. Whenever we get penalties, we're 1-0 down. So it's probably put Bruno on it because he's our best pen taker. That's probably another thing. So as said, Amorim has made it clear to the board that he needs a striker. Many within United feel sorry for Højlund. Amorim is not convinced by the player. Sources claim that they could be open to letting Højlund go. It was then reported last month that Manchester United are prepared to sell Rasmus Hojlund if they receive a suitable offer. Milan and Juventus could both move for him if they fail to land their preferred options. There's also some interest in Højlund from the Bundesliga. United could be ready to sell Højlund. It's been said that United are ready to sell Højlund. And it could be the end of Højlund. Would United let him go? It was then said by Dean Jones and Danny Rust that Manchester United are fearing that they will struggle to find a buyer for Højlund in the summer and they may be forced to keep him as a squad player or listen out to loan. So the table in terms of the reporting on Rasmus Hojlund has massively changed and gone down this sort of path of Manchester United are looking to sell Højlund. Man United are not convinced by Højlund. They're looking at this, they're looking at that. Ruben Amorim is hoping it works, but again, he's demanding a new striker, which would show a lack of confidence in Højlund. If Ruben Amorim is out there saying, I want a new striker signing, it does show that he's got a lack of confidence in his current strikers and he wants a new striker. And when you've won 18 games without a goal, you can't blame Ruben Amorim for thinking like that, can you? You can't blame him in the slightest. So what did Ruben Amorim actually say? And this is from my live stream yesterday. Ruben Amorim said on saying goodbye to players at the end of the season, we can talk about it at the end of the season because it's difficult. We still have a lot of games to play. It's not a difficult situation because everybody understands that in football, sometimes you say, sometimes you have to move on. If you know how to explain it, it's easy. I like to do it because I want to be clear. When you're honest with someone, it's difficult at first, but the person will understand. So I'm very honest with my players, and they already know that sometimes you have to move on at the end of the season. Ruben Amorim is basically saying he will be honest with his Man United players and tell them if he thinks they need to move on at the end of the season. And Rasmus Hojlund may be one of those players that Ruben Amorim will tell to move on at the end of the season because we're being told that United are listening to offers for him. They're looking to sell him. Ruben Amorim is far from convinced. Ruben Amorim wants a striker, and Xerxes seems to be offering more. And Amorim will have honest conversations with Højlund about where he stands. Amorim will praise Højlund publicly, but privately he will be having honest conversations with Højlund. It was said that Ruben Amorim isn't one to shy away from tough decisions. Even before arriving at United, he made it clear that players like Christian Eriksen wouldn't have a big role due to the intensity demands, despite Eriksen being in strong form under Ruben Nistelrooy. Casemiro has been told his lack of intensity is why he's struggling for minutes. Antony was shipped to La Liga, similar for physicality concerns about the Premier League. And after one game as a striker, Amorim bluntly stated Marcus Rashford not a 9. The Portuguese coach has already outlined his vision of forming players of their future role and who will be on the chopping block. I think players like Garnacho and Højlund will have had conversations with Amorim, and I think Amorim is going to be very honest with them and say, look, you might not be here next season. He might say that. He wants Garnacho at the club right now because he's got that intensity, he can come off the bench, but he was open to selling Garnacho at the beginning of January until he realised he was not getting replacements for Antony and Rashford. He sold Rashford, that was a big one, when he's loaned Rashford out. He's open to, offloading Garnacho. We know that was almost done in January. He's definitely open to offloading Højlund, considering that United are looking for suitors for Højlund and Ruben Amorim has demanded a striker. I do think, depending on sales, there could be a big attacking overhaul at Man United as well. What's great about Amorim is he speaks the unfiltered truth, which has caused United managers problems in the past, but I think it's a good thing as well. Can Bruno score and can the goal be recorded in Rasmus' name? That might help him. We need to change all the attackers and start winning games. We've got Ahmad and we've got Bruno, but we need a left hand and a striker. That's what we need. Xerxes, I think, is a good player to have in and around the squad. Garnacho is very good and impactful off the bench, but again, does he fully suit the system is the big question. We need a left hand and we need a striker and we need a right wing back. Dorgu left wing back, attacking right wing back, Cunha left hand, a striker, another midfielder that can progress the ball so we're not just relying on Bruno, and a left centre-back because of the injuries and the fact that we're losing Lindelof and Evans in the summer. That's what we need. And potentially a new goalkeeper as well. Getting Amorim in with a squad that was not meant for his system was a mistake. Considering we had no money to spend in January, yes. When Man United keep going on about how they're broke and they've got no money to spend, why are you bringing in a manager that's going to require a lot of investment because he requires completely different profiles? So in that sense, yes, we should have brought him in the summer before spending 200 million on Ten Hag and putting that down on Amorim. I agree with that element of what you said, 100%. We need Ahmad back. He might, if we get to the Europa League final, Ahmad could be on the bench for a game like that or the last game of the season. But sadly, it looks like Amad Diallo's season is over, which is a big blow. There was other stories coming out saying Onana's intent on staying at United next season despite struggling form, and that Amorim is open to a new goalkeeper. There was links to, obviously, Mike Maignan, I can't remember how you say his name, of AC Milan, but again, not a reliable source of information, and he is very injury prone, but there was news about that. coming out as well. And then we also got Amorim talk about why he plays Bruno deeper. I just want to say big thank you to Ray, Carl Brown, Amorim for becoming a new member. And of course, Mr. Miracle for becoming a member. Much, much appreciated. Shout out to you. I think Cunha wants out of Wolves. I don't like the way that he, attitude-wise, presents himself on social media. He's got sent off for a silly challenge and he's posting his goals. I don't think his head's at Wolves. But I would like Cunha at Manchester United fully. Apparently he's in talk for a new contract, so maybe United are just being used. Again, I didn't think there was much reliability in that. But last but not least, I want to talk about Bruno Fernandes, the problem at Man United. Who's holding us back? He's our best player. He is our best player, by the way. Amorim said this. We need Bruno deeper because he's the best player for that. We've lacked confidence to move the ball forward in some games, and Bruno is the best to do that. I tried to push Bruno to help the team to bring the game into the final third. That's the idea. If you watch the game, he's the guy who gives everything for the shirt and helps others. He doesn't like to lose. He wants to win, and that's perfect for our club. And Amorim is spot on. People say that Bruno's the problem. People say that Bruno's holding us back because he gives the ball away. He's not a system player. Look at Arsenal right now, okay? Look at Arsenal. Look at Odegaard. People that want Bruno gone want a player like Odegaard. But Odegaard is so well drilled and is so good at following instructions that when Arsenal are struggling and they need that bit of creativity in the final third, Odegaard's gone missing. Odegaard's got one goal that isn't a penalty in the last year in the Premier League. Okay, he's gone absolutely missing. When Saka's gone, he's gone absolutely missing. Odegaard is so well drilled. He follows Arteta's rules so well. But when Arsenal need someone to come up with a bit of magic because they're predictable and they can't score, he's not there. And the people that want Bruno out were praising up Odegaard last year because he keeps the ball better. But with Man United being the way they are, a player like Odegaard isn't what we need. We need a player like Bruno that no matter how good we are, how bad we are, he's going to pop up with a goal, pop up with an assist. Our last 7 goals have all come through Bruno Fernandes' involvement, whether he got the assist, the pre-assist or the goal. It's all because of Bruno. Okay? He's been a part of every single one. He is literally the only, that everything comes through him. You know, Odegaard doesn't have that magic. Bruno does. You know, someone said in reality, people want a middle sweet spot, i.e. not someone that's overcoached like Odegaard, but not someone that is really sweet camped up like Bruno. You want a little bit of a mix of the two. But if you had to pick one, you'd pick Bruno. Because if you have everybody else around Bruno that's really well coached, you've got that good player there. So Bruno does everything. The way that Amorim speaks of Bruno, I'm playing him deeper because he's the best player for that. Bruno's our best player in the 10, and he's our best player deeper. And he's our best player at Man United, period. And he is not the problem. He deserves better than this club. And we would be in a very bad situation without Bruno. Very bad situation. McAllister I like, but he hasn't got that creative spark of Bruno when it comes to goals and assists. But yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm going to wrap up the show here, but big up everybody that got involved. Big up everybody in the chat. Thank you for watching. Bye.